Так, простите. Я не знаю, что происходит с этим Ростелекомом. Это вот... Отличный оператор. Отличнейший. Самый лучший в России. Нет. Мы продолжаем.
He saw.
Какая жесть.
Sure made him happy.
Вот. Последнюю буковку можно оторвать? Осталось попасть, да? Оу. Приз получен, Грегори. Плю.
I know how silly it sounds.
Оп.
But I'm worried about a baby being too happy. But I can feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Sorry, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand.
Ох,
Gregory,
как это стрёмно, печально. Я не знаю, что со мной бы случилось.
I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Жестяк. 1 годик все.
can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea.
Свадьба это зло.
Our father never
Да,
was,
ребят, свадьба это
at
зло.
least not very hard.
Но я промолчу.
Before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Сейчас я все булку сожру. И сейчас сожру.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Нормально. Иди сюда, ну вот тебе средний палец. Средний палец вверх.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father
Вот
said
как там,
to
как
this was,
играет?
make the music louder.
Ты сначала должен маленьким быть, кушать, все, потом большой становишься и разрушаешь.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Жут какой-то. Одна из самых. Не, нас как-то вели все, а тут мы пошли обратно. Прямо обратно мы никогда не ходили, наверное, все-таки там что-то надо еще сделать.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Телефон. Интересно, нам позвонят?
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
А, пойду посмотрю, я ж беременна. Все поломано.
When my dad died,
Может быть,
I
мне
don't
вниз?
think mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Красиво.
But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Короче, тут чрезмерная опека, боязнь гибели, как раз таки, получается, и приводила. Может быть, и надо из-за неподготовленности. Практически каждый надеялся на другого. Но...
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Ого. Я бы тоже себе такую комнату хотел. В детстве. Это было круто.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Я любил так в блокнотиках рисовать. Эх, но мама на меня ругалась. Как-то я блокноты свожу.
was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Блин, это стрёмно и красиво. Этот дом очень шаткий.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
То есть все, что мы видели, это был не
Louis and
психодел.
I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
На Dreamcast похоже.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to... wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way out. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery, I spoke with his boss. But he said Louis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Louis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs
Кстати,
for
меня
them to
все
play.
больше и больше отвлекает от работы. Влечение рыбок.
He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something.
Блин, прикольно сделано.
Every
на
day
самом
his
деле.
imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Ну, началось.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Каждый барашек джойстика одним я рыбу лечу и отпускаю, а вторым я управляю
Minneapolis.
лодочкой.
Until one day he forgot to go
И,
home
типа,
from the
насколько
cannery.
я справляюсь с двойной работой, типа,
Even as his
проверка
mother
такая.
pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Я все больше и больше, получается, погружался. в
In
свою
Louisburg,
жизнь.
he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
Радуга, пускай будет.
radiant rainbows.
Ну а что, сиротки
He followed the
должны
sound
быть?
of her.
Нет.
Silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
О, класс.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
В смысле? А чего вы столько много рыбы накидали?
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Да, делать два дела, это, ну, как-то такое себе. Думать, что вот туда надо рыбку, потом вот
For
сюда вот
someone
ее
who'd never known
выкинуть,
success in the real world,
рыбку принять и
I think it was
еще идти
overwhelming.
в правильном направлении, куда ты хочешь.
And then it struck him
Класс.
that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Да я нормально делал все. Хорош. Вы чё гоните? Я нормально рубил рыбу. Я доводил до самого конца.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There's only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Не хочу. Нет такого шанса.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Жестко. Скурился и сыгрался. И это сделано в игре. Класс.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Не употребляйте наркотики. И пытайтесь играть не все время. Сказал человек, у которого есть 19-часовой стрим. Ну, только заблокированный. Но он есть. Я болел. Мне может. Что еще делать?
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Да я не знаю, как с ума не сойти. Типа вокруг тебя столько смертей.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Типа, ну да, вот решили даже ничего не забирать, не упаковывать.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Да
Maybe I should have come sooner.
все это давит, напоминает там любимых, родных, как бы. Тут я даже понимаю и согласен. Да, у меня был вопрос, типа, да как все отставить.
But it had to end one way or
Да
another.
там будешь задумываться, типа, а если ты там,
All that's
ну,
left now
продашь
is to tell you
вещь,
about
будет
that last night.
другим приносить зло, а потом это к тебе все равно придет эта вещь, там, или человек, которому ты продал эту вещь. Конечно, так можно рассуждать очень много. Ну, я отчасти понимаю. Легче иногда избавиться от вещей.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Проклятие проклятием. Она прожила 93 года. Мы же смотрели. Какой там 1900...
the power had been shut off that morning,
17
but Edie always had plenty
до
of candles.
2010-го. 93 же получается.
When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Мы в библиотеку пойдем.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories! I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Ну, когда во что-то сильно веришь, они вон с домом переехали. Они верили, что это проклятие. Ну, так и будешь это чувствовать и думать, что это как раз-таки проклятие.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd when the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive.
Оу. Даже такая вот прям
Until I found out about
последняя
you.
Финч.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
жестоко. Ну что сказать, да это ужасная история, типа, да, если такое как бы в реальности происходило, ну, как была такая семья, это, конечно, жесть. В самой игре есть погрехи. Может быть, да, из-за такого как бы цепляющего, трогательного, иногда даже вздрагиваешь. Все кажется иногда нелепым. Да сколько нелепо у нас типа в жизни, воу. Жизнь, наверное, как это, скоротечна, можно сказать. Надо ценить моменты. Да приятные, плохие. Просто вспоминать со смехом, наверное. Любить своих близких, пока они живы, потому что в любой момент их может не стать. Как бы... Да, нелепый, иногда трагический. Иногда жестоко может их не стать. Тяжелая тема, как бы, что тут говорить. У каждого свои мысли насчет этого. Игра прям, ну, пропитана потерями. Тяжелая игра. Вот телел всякие мысли в голове. Как так можно там вообще в некоторых моментах? По игре реальные недочеты то, что дом как новенький. Все как новенькое. Блин, там пару поломанных порожек и типа все остальное практически в идеальном состоянии. Ни паутины, ни особо пыли даже на столе там. Никакие мышки ни в коем случае туда не прибежали. Вы что? Но сюжетная игра классная. Разработчики молодцы. Как понять, повторить историю? Опять все просто заново? А, за бабушку можно. Типа, ну, давайте посмотрим, что будет. Типа, или это просто повтор, как бы, ну, того, что мы видели. Можно будет просто переиграть этот момент.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night.
Молли непонятно, ну, получается, Молли, скорее всего, типа какой-то уж убил. Ну, это, скорее всего, маньяк похитил, мне так кажется. Ну, тоже убил, возможно. Это глупенько немножко история. Ну, дети, как бы, бывают, совершают глупости, которые для них трагически заканчиваются. Ну, приплыл с домом, чё... Не плыл бы с домом, сделал бы новый. Мне кажется, может быть, и жизнь по-другому повернулась бы. Сбил поезд, когда вышел из убежища, ну, типа решил жить. Но он сделал что-то для себя, он все-таки поборол там, не знаю, свой страх, вот это вот жизни. Ну, тут еще меньше ребенок, как бы, да. Мы видели этот, мне кажется, там как раз во время урагана упал, скорее всего, или вот, типа, или все-таки молния там, если леска была такая железная, типа, или же там тотем валялся на пляже. Тотем, получается, убил. Ну, умерла болезнь, как бы. Куда этот, то есть, пропал, непонятно. Умерла при родах. А это у нас... Что за история? Про что? Ну, чё, скурился, заигрался, ушел из реальности. Погиб. Не понимаю, почему эти только связаны и все. Типа наводишь на это, наводится на ту. Типа, ну сейчас же, небось, покажут то, что она вот умирала просто.
all that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Вот тарелка тоже вот розовая, у нее типа поделена на 3 части. У меня тоже такая раньше была.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Сразу. Не, игра классная. Типа, печальная. Наверное, все-таки правда мораль такая, что надо дорожить всеми моментами жизни, потому что они могут всегда быть последними. В общем, на этом мы закончим. Всем спасибо, кто смотрел и кто будет смотреть. Кому понравилось, ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь. Всем пока-пока и удачи. Берегите себя.